Objection! Herzlich willkommen zurück zu AAI Investigations auf dem tjoa-Kanal zusammen mit zurück.
Das war das längste Ob.
Es war ein sehr langes Ob. Aber das ist
My longest objection ever.
Wir sind heute vielleicht dabei, den Fall endlich abzuhaken. Vielleicht sind wir bei der ersten Testimony, vielleicht auch nicht. Wir wissen es nicht. Wir stürzen uns rein. What Miss Pops saw. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already been subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put out on our costumes and made our escape. So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought that it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage at the stadium. But then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at the time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Forbes saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at that time. Wouldn't you agree? Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail.
Rebuttal.
So, long after the other two, by that time Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. Aber da war ich doch. Oder?
Ja.
Das war ich doch.
War 2 oder 3 Euro? Ich glaube 2. Außer.
Hold it! You are sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw?
Ja.
Yes, I'm certain of what I saw. Did you go into the other room to check? Lance said that it was the best if I didn't get too close to him. Lance, he's such a kind soul. Then are you telling me that you did not confirm it was Mr. Deacon for yourself? I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. Oh Gott. He had a Bad Badger's hat on, so I'm absolutely sure. Okay, ich war es mit dem Bad Badger. Okay, gut. That just had to be Mr. Deacon. She saw a Bad Badger hat? Können wir damit einfach schon objecten? Ah, okay.
Frage jetzt was. Ja. Ah, okay.
Naja, war ja bei mir.
Ja.
Ich traue mich nicht, aber okay. Wir müssen eine schnelle Folge machen. Objection! Nice.
Wir haben noch genug Leben.
Wir haben noch genug Leben. Das wird unsere neue Catchphrase. Miss Potts, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all. Huh? The person you actually saw was this person. Miles Edgeworth! It was me. Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth? I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom?
Schwitzt.
It's not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right? That's... You showed Miss Pops a person, namely me, with a Bad Badger's hat on. And then made your costume to escape together, or so you pretended. Huh? What do you mean, pretended? Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape, and then doubled back to the hideout, sorry. Probably to come and remove the Bad Badger hat from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop sword. He then escaped via the passageway. Not so fast! Hold your tongue, boy!
Wie er sich in dem versteckt.
Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. Tidal wave? We've heard a lot to come out of you, but I've had yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cold. That's right, you were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would have still seen me tied to that beam. I was so scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the room next. I'm so scared, I can't even talk right now. You see, it would seem that you can't prove a thing.
Jetzt haben wir mitnehmen, während des Assassin-Modus den Lolli in den Mund gesteckt.
Mystery persons, I told it. Who said that? Oh.
Please, wait.
Mr. Amano.
Oh, Miles, my boy. It looks like you're really giving it your all.
Ich dachte, du musst bei Ethics als echt ausmachen. Das ist unlucky.
Ach, schade. Ist okay, ich glaube, die Flugzeuge sind fake.
Sehr gut.
And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others.
Dad!
Let's see. You're the one in charge of the investigation, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you.
Oh, do you now? Lol. Is that what I think it is?
It's the Bad Badger costume the victim was wearing. And a gun!
2 guns!
I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea.
Ist einfach im Meer geschwommen, hat es gefunden. Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law?
No. Agent Ang, please come down.
What the heck is that scrap of paper?
This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says.
What? The Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is?
The person who wields the highest authority in this area.
Oh ho, there now. There is no need to be so upset.
Power
God.
of money. I'm not a cop from this land, so I'm not bound by the laws of your country. That's not how it works.
No. This wasn't meant to strong arm you into anything. It's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of the land.
I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand, it doesn't matter who found this evidence. Its value remains unchanged. Alright now, let's take a look at this new evidence.
I've already got the results back.
Oh mein Gott, was ist für eine Deus Ex Machina hier?
The Special Forensics Research Lab that I'm on good terms with conducted tests. Emma? They verified that the blood on his costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren.
What?
You disappoint me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you'll have no reason left to push my poor boy around.
That's it? These are the case-making pieces of evidence? Ha! I'll be the judge of that. Okay, Miles. Okay. Okay, er hat die Gun in der rechten Hand und er hat hier die zweite Gun. Okay, schaut mal. Could this gun be the actual murder weapon? Okay. Could this gun be the actual murder? Okay, schauen wir uns.
Da ist ein Loch.
This bullet hole.
It looks like, it looks kind of burned around the edges.
Wait, those burn marks were left by the gunpowder. That is the most important fact.
Why is that?
Because it is proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range.
Ha, das weiß ich sogar auch wegen einem anderen Fall, den Ace Attorney. Haha. Im zweiten.
What's this?
Oh.
It looks like there's something inside the costume hat.
Hey, they sparkle. I bet they're really valuable.
Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. But why are they in here? Gosh, was haben wir denn hier jetzt gefunden jetzt?
Well, are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen?
Ja, die Mirror Shots, die kann ich sowas von zuordnen.
Thank you, Dad. This should have been enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. Oh.
Oder auch nicht.
Decisive evidence. Oh, die Musik geht ab! Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderous gun, and they prove that it was Lolly who killed Oliver. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life. So, Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense. Okay. The
Aber du
fingerprints
nicht!
on the weapon, huh?
Oh, it isn't helpful at all. Ich war gerade am Gern, das war fies.
Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is save Lolly. But in the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do, however, I still have a case to solve and a job to do. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. Welcome to Unraveled, but with Brian David Gilbert.
Brian David Edgeworth.
You wound me. Why won't you believe me, even in the face of all this evidence? Okay, 3, 2, 1, Musik und Kick! Hold it! Those fingerprints, are you sure they belong to Miss Pops?
There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensic techniques money can buy performed.
I find that to be a bit peculiar.
What? Are you trying to pick an argument with me?
What should I do? Should I raise an objection? No. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pops' fingerprints should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why is Miss Pops' print should be not on the gun is she was wearing the costume.
Ja.
Das hier? Das hier? Ah, hier steht sogar drin. Take that! It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon, because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Huh?
Oh, there's been no mistake. We found fingerprints.
Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit back in the hideout. I handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house.
To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Miss Pops' prints found their way onto the gun. Do you understand now, Mr. Amano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer.
But you still don't know anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right?
You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer.
Oh, Lance!
What? No way! I'm incredibly worried about her!
But that doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right?
Sei nicht gegen mich, oder?
That's where you're wrong, kiddo. I have the evidence. What? How? The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true, because that was not the real crime scene, but a setup. This proves that the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all.
Glass Shards vom Haunted House wahrscheinlich, oder?
Ja. Ja.
Weil das haben wir... Ah, nee, gar nicht mehr. Okay.
Ich glaube auch. Ja, Prosecutor's Badge, das ist es.
Schade.
Ja, wir haben noch Leben.
Yep.
Noch genau 2.
Okay, ja, aha. 0! That's at least a 6.8 out of a 10. Komm. Ja, Punkt 0,1 kriegen wir schon mehr.
Naja, es war ja dann, where the victim was up on the stage and Miss Pops was down below. There must be something that invalidates it.
Die Einschusswunde.
Ja, habe ich auch gedacht, aber wir haben das Ding gerade nicht bekommen, oder? Ach doch, es war hier. Damit, das ist Gunpowder.
Ah. Ja.
Let us take another good look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe you will see why I insist he was not shot at the stadium. This is the part of the costume that proves it. Ja, da wo mein Dings direkt hin. Take that! The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point blank range.
Ah, so then you mean that the murderer Miss Oldbeck saw at the stadium really was?
Yes, she saw two people, but they were separated by distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Arr! Look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants Prosecutor. Why are you wearing pants anyway? Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then? Yeah, haunted house.
Dun, dun, dun.
Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were at just before I was in prison was... Tschu, tschu, tschu. Da ist es.
Nee, das kann eindeutig gewesen sein.
I've got it. I know the real scene of the murder. The real location in which Mr. Deacon was killed is here. The main gate.
Wait. Das Riesenrad.
Take that! Das Boot da oben links. I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house. The haunted house? Yes, and I have proof that it is highly likely that the victim was killed there. What proves that the real scene of the crime was the haunted house, nothing else than the mirror fragments.
Wenn nicht, haben wir immer noch 2 Leben.
Wir haben noch so viel Leben, wie es the poet's life costume the victim was wearing. They're fragments of a mirror. A mirror? And what does that have to do with anything? Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous.
However, there's one place I can think of where there's a plethora of mirror fragments, and that is the haunted house. It's all coming together. Lance Amano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house I solved, Cluedo.
Ich wollte auch gerade sagen.
After that, you stole the Blue Badger Mobile to move his body to the Wild Wild West area. The timing of when the Blue Badger Mobile was stolen confirms this as a fact.
As my boy say no more.
I'm sorry, Mr. Amano, but I cannot do that. Not so fast! Be quiet!
Yes, please do something. Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense.
Ernest Amanos, correct? I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. Oh!
How dare you!
I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. And to call these mirror bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Sheena, wasn't there a mirror in the kidnapper's hideout?
Yes, there was a mirror there. A mirror that's for the haunted house.
You see, isn't it possible that the fragments got into the costume there? But Agent Lang, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low. Not so fast! Probability? Lang, she says, on truth's path the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is, do you have the definitive proof you need?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do ya?
Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? The answer is no. See? So since you don't have any— Shut up! I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. At that time, the only people at the haunted house besides myself were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove that the murder took place at the haunted house, then I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder.
What now, Mr. Edgeworth?
Agent Lang, I have a special request. Yeah? Shove the prop sword off my ass. This will solve everything. I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house.
Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission?
Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth. Alright, permission granted, but you're not to touch a single thing, got it? That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is. Sheena,
I'm here.
put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately.
Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval.
Hold it.
I don't know. Mehr.
Who was that? Ich bin voll.
Oh.
No! Let's hold on for a second. There is no need to obtain approval.
Mr. Amano?
Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this.
What is this? China! Ich glaube, er kann einfach nicht lesen.
It's the deed to the haunted house.
Er hat's gekauft? The deed? Read it out! Loud!
Gatewaterland Incorporate hereby bequeaths the property known as the haunted house to Mr. Amano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash.
What?
Oh, I'm Santa Claus. As you can see, I'm now the legal owner of the haunted house.
Santa Claus wohnt im Haunted House?
Yeah. Are you kidding? When did you?
I ran into the owner of the park earlier and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye.
That $1 million you paid, don't tell me it was.
Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now.
Die arme Miss Tenero wird
Ja,
einfach noch im nächsten Case weiter gemobbt für die Design.
Easily.
You used the ransom money?
My Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are, so if you would please discuss things with me from now on.
Discuss? What is that to discuss?
Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course.
While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Amano was out there.
Studied the blade.
Preempting us. Mr. Amano was out there studying the blade. Permission to search. Oh, sorry.
Permission to search the haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Agent Lang, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper.
Arr! Mr. Amano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor here. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever.
Ja, einfach gehen.
Einfach gehen. Und damit geht auch
Ja.
die Folge.
Gut.
Gut.
Ist so schön.
Ja, schön. Bis zum
Schön.
nächsten Mal. Wir
Bis zum
schaffen
nächsten Mal.
dann endlich die Folge, dass der Case beendet wird. Wahrscheinlich, hoffentlich.
Hoffentlich.
Tschüss.
Tschö.